Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Manish Mohta, who is the founder of Learning Spiral, which is a leading online examination solution provider for online assessments and exams for universities. Hi, Manish. Welcome to ELI.
Thank you, Priya. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How about you?
I'm great.
Awesome. So, Manish, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience and a little bit about the venture that you are running.
Right. So myself, Manish Mohta, I'm the founder of Learning Spiral. So at Learning Spiral, we pride ourselves to be on a mission to provide superpowers to higher education institutes.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenges of higher education institutes is how to drive assessments and examinations and the student life cycle in a manner that the academic calendar is not strained. I think that's the biggest challenge from a Southeast Asian or an Indian perspective, that the amount of learning which needs to be imparted, the amount of activities which need to be done, there's a lot of pressure in meeting the academic calendar deadlines.
Yeah.
And in that context, especially in our country, assessments and exams take a whole lot of time. And during this time, that is, it is at this time, just exams are happening. So colleges are busy doing exams, teachers are doing busy conducting the examinations, coordinating it, and the learning takes a backstage. So what
Mhm.
we have tried to do is that if we can crash these timelines, make these things more transparent, efficient, analytical, then the end result would be millions of learning hours would be given to the nation. And that's one of the biggest goals that the organization is working towards.
Got it. And what sort of products and solutions do you have in your portfolio?
So if you look at the solutions, then they kind of mirror the entire student journey. We talk about from an inquiry right down to the graduation. Almost every aspect of the student value chain is captured by one product or solution of the company. And assessments and examinations and analytics play a very big role in this because they provide direction as well as the data-based insight which can help higher education institutes actually achieve what they might be aspiring.
Got it. So just curious, I think your company started around 1999. Correct me if I'm wrong. But just curious to know, how did this space of digitization of assessments start? Because I remember a time when I was writing exams using the OCR forms, and then all of a sudden everything started getting digitized, and we started appearing exams online. All of the cat, mat, etc., that started happening on online medium. So just curious to know when this wave started.
So, the company is quite older. You're absolutely right. The company started in 99. At that time, the business model was very different. We got funded that time. We had launched India's first student portal. It was more towards admissions and online admissions, and we visualized a world at that moment of time where, every single admission would be completely digitally processed. Of course, 99 was too early. We were far too early in the game. For nearly a decade and a half or more, internet penetration never really happened in India.
Mhm.
And in 2000 there was the dot-com bust, and all these dreams came shattering back. The VCs started asking for remaining money back to them and those kind of things. And it was quite a bit of hard, a sad piece of past history,
Mhm.
wherein we had to relook and review at exactly what we were up to. And in fact, this was a campus startup at that time. Three of my friends then decided to pursue other entrepreneurial or non-entrepreneurial ventures. And I stayed on. This organization continued flip-flopping between different business models. And then subsequently, it was just I would say just a decade back that we started pursuing things afresh. So at this new avatar, we started looking at assessments and exams along with the digital, the admission journey, which was the earlier this thing brainchild. And this time, definitely the infrastructure in the Indian landscape was far more robust. With
Mm-hmm.
Geo coming in, penetration happened, and acceptance for digital technology as an intervention in any of the educational processes, yeah, gained a lot more adoption. And education is quite a conservative sector. People are quite conservative minded when it comes to decision making, and it's difficult to teach a professor, right? So you have these elder professors who are at the helm of these decision making, and they are quite conservative. Better to be sure rather than be experimental. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how things started. And definitely, that journey which you are talking about, from complete manual, a lot of things came to OMR and OCR. We did a lot of that, in the period between 2000 to 2014 to 17. Those were periods where universities told us that, why don't you just modernize us? We can't go onto the internet, but can you just at least make manual processes more digital?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the period, a good decade and a half, which was people moved from full manual to OMR or OCR or ICR scanning based approaches. And then the next leap was from, these OCR, ICR forms right to online, whether it was assessment or the applications also. So,
Mm-hmm.
we worked with a lot of central universities, and I remember how, the first time we took Banaras Hindu University online, and it was the first time they were taking online admissions, and that they were quite apprehensive that, will students have the courage to fill an online form versus a ICR and OMR form.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that experiment started, and we've been working at that place for nearly 10 years now. And that journey has been amazing. And so that's how online happened, first with admission applications, then with assessments, because assessments is another leap of faith. These are highly sensitive, high stake exams on
Mm-hmm.
which lives and careers depend,
Right.
and sometimes even the careers and lives of the whole families depend on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really. And those were again experiments which had their own fair bit of challenges. Even today, what we call CBT, the computer-based test in India, is actually partially online. So it's the delivery mechanism is hybrid. So you have the servers at these local centers, test centers,
Mm-hmm.
which are connected to the internet, but the exam per se is happening on the local land. So you still are not having fully online exams. During COVID, of course, a lot of digital transformation happened, a lot of experimentation happened, and proctored exams and online assessments actually started taking some adoption in the higher education space and the education space in general. Otherwise, people were very conservative. They didn't want to take exams online. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that was, I think, the turning point wherein assessments and exams took a leapfrog, and people started saying that, okay, yes, we could also have reliable assessments done on the internet, and proctoring in all its formats and avatars, started taking roots, whether it was corporate or with education or higher education. And thankfully, being a little pioneering and experimental, we had solutions ready even beforehand. And we were agnostic to the solution that you chose. So we've always maintained that you can choose the methodology of assessment, you can choose what mode you want to conduct the exam in, and accordingly the solution can be used. And the commercials were not linked to it, as a result of which we actually, the COVID time, we saw a gain in, of course, revenues, like a lot of edtechs, B2B edtechs. But even after the COVID was over, we did not see a fall down. So that was very different. We found that a lot of people went hybrid, but because our commercial models were agnostic to what technology you were using,
Mm-hmm.
so we continued to see a big growth trajectory even post COVID. So there was no downfall after the COVID.
Okay.
And even with our subjective exams, we talk about the pen and paper exams. So there
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of tech which goes behind the pen and paper exams these days. So whether it is a question paper distribution, whether it is the creation of the question papers, and whether it is the logistics of of the distribution of the booklets and collection of it, and finally the evaluation. So today evaluation of these subjective answer scripts is also happening online. And
Wow.
what happens is that the entire answer booklet is scanned, and the evaluation happens on the scanned answer booklets, so that it can be shared back to the students for feedback. Plus, now for the first time there is a quality control layer on how the teachers are evaluating these subjective answer booklets. So you are having proctoring on the reverse side. So you have a teacher checking the answer booklet from homes, but he is having his photographs and video stream is being checked, so that we make sure that it is the teacher who is sitting and doing the evaluation. It's not his nephew or some relative who's doing
Hmm.
it. All of those problems which used to plague our country's evaluation mechanism of subjective answer booklets, that is being solved using technology. And because of that, definitely the fairness in evaluation, there's anonymity of the student, so the teacher doesn't know whose answer booklet he's checking.
Hmm.
So that all of these things, plus how much time he's spending on the booklet, he can't just spend 2 minutes and give some average mark and get away with it. So
Right.
we know exactly how much time he spent on the booklet, on each page, whether he has seen the page or not seen the page. So a lot of the quality controls have fallen in place, which is really required when you are checking millions of answer booklets. You need that quality control to be there. They are blind answer booklets. So you have a pre-checked answer booklet which goes to a teacher, and now I know exactly that if he's going to evaluate it wrongly, I know there is going to be a big variation in marks, and I can immediately catch the professor and tell him that something wrong with your evaluation. Maybe you should review. And that has seen a sea change, and a lot of school boards have started adopting. Last year, Haryana school board has adopted this mechanism. So even school board exams are now moving fully digital, in terms of evaluation and everything. So that's been the journey in terms of how we have progressed from manual days wherein nothing was there online, to today where even a pen and paper exam has a lot of online tech going behind it.
Wow, I think this is really interesting, and I don't know if the state boards have adopted this, but yeah, sounds like this is going to be a big leap forward in the process of examinations. But I remember a time
So
when
Haryana board is a state board, so that's why I mentioned it. So it's the state boards we have started. In fact, there was a conference, the annual All India Board Conference, which was just held a month back, and they unanimously have resolved that every board would be making an attempt to adopt this technology because of the amazing results which Haryana board has.
interesting. Uh, I remember a time when what used to happen. I was filling out form for the JE exams, and the due to a lot of traffic into the server used to crash. And then I also remember a time when I was appearing a banking exam, but there was a heavy thunderstorm. There was a breakdown of the entire electricity network, and the computers were switched off in between during the exam. We had to appear the exam once again after a month or so. So that was a time when the infrastructure was not there, and I think you rightly mentioned around 2016 and 17 the geo revolution came, and that's why a lot of things changed. So I was just curious to know if you have in your venture, if you have faced such breakdowns or overflow of traffic, any such issues where you couldn't handle the scale, or there were issues with the security and those sort of things.
So positively, scale and peaking load is a bigger issue in the domain that I work in, because uh, you talked about admission applications. So we also work with public service commission, for example, Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission. We are working there for since last 6 to 7 years, And for their group 4 notification, which is like some 8,000 to 9,000 vacancies, they receive close to 25 lakh to 30 lakh applications. So that's 3 million applications coming in. And somehow everybody is waiting for the last day, So literally half of it comes in the last 2 days. So you get 1.5 million applications in the last 2 days, and close to half a million applications comes in the last hour. So that's the kind of peaking scale up load which happens in this domain. And it is
Mm,
crazy. Even at the best of times, you need to be really robust and well prepared for this. Today definitely we are able to handle it in a very very nice manner. But when we started off, the first time we started the online application for Banaras Hindu University, things weren't that rosy.
mm,
AWS had just entered India. We were amongst its first customers. We were amongst their first partners, and things weren't as streamlined as that. Plus, we weren't able to predict. For example, at that place, they used to get 200,000 or 2 lakh forms manually. They were physical forms. So they told us maybe we'll go online, so you will get 2.5 or 3. Actually, we got 6.5. So when you get 6.5 lakh and you were prepared for 3, so definitely there were a lot of challenges, and it was only thanks to the cloud and being with AWS, we were able to do a lot of scale up at last moment. And I think the cloud technology has helped in this field of education and these applications and assessments, which see huge peaking load. So today, whether it is 100,000 proctored exams, or whether it is half a million applications coming in the last hour, we are able to meet this challenge in a proper and smooth manner. But definitely the journey to this smoothness was not smooth. In fact, it's fair enough of hiccups.
understood. Uh, just curious to know a little bit about the business side of it. Things like how do you generate leads for your software? How do you get in touch with the universities, and how much time does it take to convince them to use your solution? And how much budget do they have allocated for these sort of things? Can you tell something around it?
So definitely my area is far more niche than a lot of other regular businesses. Plus, there is a premium attached to trust, security, and past experience, because it's a high stake exams and high stake assessments is a domain which needs to be tread carefully. And to that extent, the brand and reputation of the vendor, in terms of the clientele which he has had, the repeat clientele which he has had, as a proxy for the kind of quality of service and the kind of reliability that we enjoy with our clients. So to that extent, our customer base is definitely more keen to look at these aspects and is ready to pay a premium for that trust and reliability and security, because they can go back home and sleep properly. As a controller of exam, they know that their data is safe, everything is in the right hands. So from that perspective, definitely we are blessed to be in this niche domain. Having
Mm,
said that, we have always been on a usage based model. So business has flowed based on volumes and usage. In terms of conversion of leads to this thing, to the actual customer, so definitely there is a digital outreach today, and that digital outreach ends up leading to some demos, etc., and demonstrations. But a lot of role is played by referrals,
mhm.
and our old customers who are happy with our services, they talk to their friends and colleagues in the space, and as a result of that, that referral business gives us a lot of strength. And I think a bunch that also converts faster as compared to a lead which comes which is generated through the digital outreach. that takes a lot more time for us to mature and convert, because trust building takes a lot of time. And the first thing that you're selling is the trust, because he needs to first trust you as an organization, as a human being, and then he will start evaluating a product, because most of these products are fairly vast, and very difficult for you to slice and dice it and make a comparison immediately. But so you rely more on developing the trust, then demonstrating it using a pilot or something, and then finally having a full-fledged project ongoing. So that's the usual journey which customers take with us.
And what sort of budget does a university have for spending into
So budget,
assessment? And yeah.
with assessments, I think budgets are fairly varying, because depends upon the mode of assessment, the number of assessments, the how digital an approach the university is taking. So anywhere between 2,000 rupees a student to right down to 100 rupees a student. It could vary anywhere in that range, depending upon what is the extent of digital tech usage which the university is ready to do.
Okay, 2000 rupees per month or year, you are saying?
No. This is annual. This is
Got
annual. Yeah.
got it. Got it. Uh, So another thing I wanted to ask you was, you must have heard about the recent question leakage and the NEET exam fiasco. And this is a common thing in our country. Every year, either CAT exam question paper got leaked, or some state boards question paper got leaked. And there are, other unfair things that happen during the exam, post exam. But this is unique to our country. It doesn't happen that often outside India. So I just wanted to know, what are the technological guardrails, or what are the things that you are developing or is getting developed in the industry to prevent these sort of things from happening?
So positively, the environment is far more challenging in our country. I would want to point this out. If you look at any of our exams, even I gave you the example of the Public Service Commission. So you are choosing, there are 8,000 vacancies, you are getting, 25 lakh applications. So this is amongst the most competitive, uh, assessments and selection criteria which we see happening in our country, whether it is a JE, whether it is a NEET, or whether it is any of the government exams. The ratio of successful versus people who are participating, so that ratio is very minimal, as a result of which it's a very competitive space. Plus, the stakes are very high. A government job is a coveted job which can change the dynamics of 2 3 generations for a
Hmm.
family. So that's the level of stake which is there. So literally 100 years of your family can be impacted by this event in that
Right.
fellow's life. So
Yeah.
that's a very different dynamic as compared to some of the comparison set that we talk about in other countries. So other countries, that's not the level of competition which exists. So
Hmm.
definitely when stakes become so high, then it tweaks human behavior in different ways. So definitely, as I was saying, that challenges in our country is more, and to that extent, we need to be more tech savvy rather than less.
Mm-hmm.
Solutions for a lot of these problems exist. So whether it is question paper, we were talking about question paper. So a lot of our university clients have started using digital means of question generation, compilation, so that the question paper is created on the fly by the software. So not even one teacher is aware of exactly what questions exist in the paper. So
Hmm.
which is a sea change from earlier practice, wherein maybe you will give make two sets of papers, but then the author of those question papers do know those questions in the first place. So starting from there, where the software is generating the question paper, and then it is only getting moderated. So once the moderation is done, you are having moderated question papers, out of which on the D day the paper can be sent. Now
Mm,
a lot of the university exams, the papers are printed at site now. So that means at the center, an hour before the question paper is printed. So the logistics, because almost all paper leakages happen during the logistics. That
mm,
is between the printing house to the center, you know, because printing itself is taking place nearly a month before, because to provide for the logistics to happen. So now
mhm,
you are giving 1 month period for all the miscreants in the society. You are giving them that much extra time. As
mm,
compared to that, if you have a digital transmission, then you are giving them just 1 hour to figure out everything. So that becomes far more difficult to execute. Apart from the fact that now you are even the 1 hour before it is in an encrypted format, half an hour before the key is being given. So you are just getting few minutes for you to be able to do something funny, and that is also traceable. Everybody knows that it will get traced. So people don't want to attempt funny things. So definitely the tech exists. Now to use this tech, you need to adopt it, pilot it, and then gradually scale it up. So
mm,
that's something where which only organizations which own the whole channel of this execution can do it. And so one of the reasons which I think the neat fiasco happened was that you created a body which is the NTA, and the NTA body was not fairly robust, in the sense that it was doing the same business practices which the earlier CBSE board used to. CBSE board hired some vendors, and these vendors did every component. NTA hired some vendors and did every component.
mhm,
The team which existed in NTA was also kind of temporary, etc. So you did not create the structure of the body in a different manner. As compared to that, if I look at a university, you have permanent staff, you have a vision that in the next 2 3 years I want to improve the situation. So
mhm,
that plays a big role in adoption of technology, so that because you need to do it over a period of time for it to become stable and production ready. And
mm,
definitely that's something which a stable body can do better as compared to a bare bones body.
right. And is there any role of AI? AI being leveraged in this whole process? Because I'm assuming you mentioned the software generates the question in real time. That is one use case of AI, I'm sure. But where all is AI being already used, or you are thinking to use? For example, one example I can think of is the question paper evaluation. Sorry, the answer paper evaluation can be done using AI, especially those subjective papers. So similarly, what all use cases of AI do you have in the entire process of assessments?
Right, so you almost mirroring the kind of vision that we have. And definitely there are a lot of touch points at which AI can be used, starting from the help desk. So the help desk is where these millions of applicants or students actually reach out to, and a lot of times they are not really responded to all that well, because the number of volume of applicants is so large. So as a result of that, these bodies do a very shoddy job at being able to adequately inform the student in proper time. So you have phone numbers which don't get picked up, you have emails which don't get replied, and so all of these things, AI is helping in making sure that the right information is being received by the applicants, whether it is on a chatbot or on an email reply. That's happening right now. So that's something which becomes a big relief, because at least a whole bunch of information dissemination, which because nobody reads the prospectus. I mean, nobody reads the manual. This is a fact, and
Yeah.
they reach out and they are expecting it to be resolved. So that's something which is human behavior, and we need to do that. So that's where I think AI has started playing a role. When it comes to assessments, definitely creating questions out of the syllabus, not moving out of the syllabus. Within those guardrails and boundaries, you need to create question sets of different difficulty levels, for different marking schemes. So again, this is a job which AI is able to take that burden, and
Mhm.
then the questions themselves are getting moderated by an expert panel. So it's not getting created, but only getting moderated. As a result of that, a lot of the drudgery goes out of the job. Plus, a lot of questions are modifications of good questions. So, that modification AI is able to do. For
Mhm.
example, you have the same concept, but numbers will change.
Mhm.
Diagrams will change, numbers will change, just a different format, a variation. So,
Mhm.
again, this variation is easy for an AI algorithm to do, which otherwise some teacher would be doing it. So, these kind of things in question paper creation is already happening using AI. And then subsequently, when these when the paper is getting evaluated, short answers, again, AI is able to do a good job. Long answers are definitely more challenging. Handwritten long answers are tad more challenging, because you need to also read the handwriting first and then make sense of it and then grade it. So I don't think we are yet at foolproof grading based on AI, suitable enough for high stake exams. But definitely we are, I think we will be quite close to giving suggestive grades. So a lot of work is happening on that realm, that can we provide suggestive grades, or can we add a QC layer using AI. So that's something which again is being done. Plus a lot of formative assessments, because you need to, not just the high stake exams, you also need to do a lot of formative assessments to check whether learning outcomes are being actually met. And the national education policy, or the NEP, talks a lot about learning outcomes and analytics. These are
Mhm.
again two big areas where AI can help in a very big way. And we are we have started taking baby steps in that sense, I would say, and yet to see what the future holds.
Got it. Well, I think we are almost at the end of the session. Just one last question before we wrap up. Tell us, what is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How would you define the term entrepreneur, based on the 20-25 years experience you have as an entrepreneur?
So I think as an entrepreneur, you are creating lives, impacting lives, and creating value for a large number of people. And when we look at a venture or as a business, at least for me, I, apart from the fact that okay, how much money can be made and how much profits it could be, that is one aspect of entrepreneurship. But I also want to see that how much impact can we make, whether for the people who are working in the organization, or for the the public at large, or the clients at large, what kind of impact you will make on the world. That I think is going to drive you, and
Mhm.
that drive is going to be very, very crucial, because when you start up, things are not rosy. It's a long journey,
Mhm.
and that long journey might not have money from day one.
Right.
So that's not going to drive you. So I think for entrepreneurship, for me, I think it's creating this impact at a large scale, affecting a lot of lives, both my team members as well as the clients and customers. I think that's what the whole joy is about, of being able to create this.
Got it. Well, thanks for joining us, Manish. It was a pleasure to have you on our platform, and we got to learn a lot of things from you around the space of assessments and technology for education. Thanks again, and I wish the best for the venture that you are building.
Thank you, Priyaranjan. It was amazing talking to you, and I'm so happy you chose me to be a part of this episode of yours.
Thank you, Manish. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye bye.